real estate award or
Oh
something.
my
Maybe not
God.
even women. Maybe real marketing. Maybe not even just women. Just some big thing. Nomination.
How could you
Carly.
mess that up on Women's
Because I'm
History
saying
Month?
it may be just. I don't want to say it's only women. It may be just a marketing
Okay.
award.
Oh my God, that's so
Whoa,
cool. In
that's
Nashville? Is
amazing.
that why she's there?
No, I think that was something else. I don't know
Oh,
the
maybe we
details.
should talk about it then when she comes on. This is great.
I know.
That's
No, no.
awesome. Go
She
Carly.
rules.
Carly.
That's
She's
my
a
lady.
badass.
She
Her.
is. I
Okay.
hope you're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, we're
Okay.
rolling. How
Goddamn
good was
right.
that?
Goddamn right. Better send me just that part.
We
Just
got you.
Yeah.
We
send
got
me
We're
you.
just
gonna
that.
actually, we need to clip that so that
Yes.
you're not in the doghouse
Yes.
the next time you
Yes.
like get into
Send
trouble.
me just
Send
that
that.
part.
Done. I will
please.
edit it myself
Good.
because that's what I do.
Ooh, Okay.
You guys ready?
Ready.
I thought we already started.
We already
We're already
started.
in.
That's
We're
our
in
camera,
it.
The clock
right?
is
We're in
running.
it. Yep, that's our camera.
Center camera right
This
here.
is our camera.
Yep.
So
Great.
if you like are making any point, look
Oh.
there. I lost my notes already. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Taking It Personally. I am your host, Michelle Yampolsky Gomez. We're in season 2.
Woo.
This is episode 4. I'm super excited because I have not one, but 2 guests today, which is new for me as well because I never get the center angle.
It suits you.
It does suit me because I'm always thrown off by a side angle and then I never know which side to pick. So this is working out great for me. I'm so happy to be here. So first, I'm going to introduce Eleni Simos.
Hi.
You have met her before. She's been on the show.
Yeah.
She is the clean eating chick.
Amen.
She is the juicing goddess.
Yes.
She just launched her podcast.
Sure did.
Juice is the new tea.
Yes.
Welcome, Eleni.
Thank you. Thank you. Excited to be here.
And also, like, everyone always asks for her to come back because, like I've said many times
Here I
before,
am.
I have better chemistry with you than my own husband. It is what it is. And then welcome Phil Bassis,
First time guest.
first time guest, CEO of Reason Clothing, father extraordinaire,
Father to him.
father of 2. We're so excited to have you on. Thank you for
I'm
coming.
so excited. My pleasure. Thank you.
And we can kick things off because we're all here. Why
Yeah.
don't we start off with like a little bit about me's? Eleni, you can
Okay.
take it away so Phil
All right.
knows how
Well,
it's done here.
Thank you for that phenomenal introduction. I am
Obviously.
blessed, grateful, and honored to be here. Phil, always a pleasure to see you. The clean eating chick, owner and founder of Cleanse Juices in the holistic health and wellness space, a Reiki practitioner, a yoga teacher, a juicing goddess, a manifesting goddess, and now the host of a new podcast, Juice is the New Tea. So all of the good things, all of the good high vibrational frequency, stuff.
Wow. Wow. You've been working on your elevator pitch.
Yeah, that
That
was
was
like, what was that,
good.
60 seconds?
That was like the perfect
Okay.
That was
snippet.
really
Is that
good.
really perfect? I mean,
No,
thanks,
you nailed
guys.
it. You didn't
Wow.
even say an or a
Mhm.
like. Phil,
You're up, kid.
you're
Phil
up.
Basis. Juice. I love Michelle and the whole Gomez family. Shout out Matt and the whole Gomez clan. I'm an entrepreneur. Started a business when I was 18, clothing fashion business called Reason, and native New Yorker. And my office is just up the street from here.
which is
Third
phenomenal.
Street, NYC.
Perfect.
Represent.
Always NYC. Well, thanks for coming on.
I want a better. That was so good. You have that
no,
locked
Phil,
down.
that
I
was
don't
solid.
have
You came in with
a-
the straight facts. You're like entrepreneur, NYC born and bred.
I think
I know.
you're highlighting, like your highlight reel is just so powerful that like
Yeah.
it did the job. You're good.
Nailed it, bro.
Welcome.
Nailed it.
And for those of you at home who are watching or listening, you're probably thinking to yourself, why the fuck did you bring these 2 together for a podcast episode? And I did that for a few reasons, right? First of all, they're my friends. Second of all, they're both entrepreneurs who started really cool shit. And they did that here in New York City. And they're both New York City born and bred, but not your typical, I don't want to say typical, but not your stereotypical annoying TikTok influencer, which is a whole other part that we're going to get into later on in the show. So I wanted to know a little bit more about both of them and their stories and how they got there. But before we get into that, I just want to know how everyone's week is going.
Well, you're asking that because I asked you how your week is going, and you responded with a very intense, not well, bitch.
Yes,
like,
not
it
well,
turned a
bitch.
couple of heads.
It did.
So I feel like before getting into my week,
Maybe
Let's-
I should.
yeah, just
maybe I should talk
get
about
it off your
myself.
chest, sister.
Because this
Get
is
it
my
off your
show.
chest. Yeah.
It is my show,
Yeah.
and I'm allowed to do as
You
I please
are
on
allowed.
this. So I'm interjecting on my own notes app list outline, right? Because I had the worst fucking week of my entire life. Allegedly, Mercury is in which?
retrograde. So it means that the planet is looking like it's spinning backwards. Mercury rules communication, technology, so it's kind of a time where things could be a little bit crazy. So you want to just dot your I's and cross your T's, take it slow, don't rush, because now creates like a larger margin for error.
Oh, okay, because everything was fucking erroneous this week, and it sucked my ass. So first of all, last week, the whole family was sick. I'm sure you get that. When you have a toddler at home, everyone is just bound to be sick all the fucking time. Do you guys feel that ever?
Yeah, no, like September through March.
Awful.
It doesn't stop, yeah.
It doesn't stop, but then the toddler bounces back really fast.
Just wait until you have a second. Oh, you wait.
Oh, we're playing the just wait, aren't we?
But wait, it gets
worse.
Worse, yeah.
Well, the issue in my home is that our toddler brings home an illness. We get it, and then it takes us 4 times as long to bounce back. So last week, my daughter had a cold for about 4 hours, and my husband is now going on day 14 of a cold. Cannot kick it, and apparently it made his immune system so shoddy that he now had a gout flare up. Matt has gout. Oh shit, I'm not supposed to say his name. My husband has gout, and his ankle is now swollen to the size of my head. Cannot walk. So now I have 2 children at home.
So you're basically like a single mommy.
I'm a single mom.
Yeah.
No, I really.
Now you have a second. Now you do have a second.
I do have a second. So you
because
just
when men are sick, they're helpless.
I had no idea. And Phil, maybe you could give us a little perspective here on like why you're like this. Why are men like this? Why do men fall apart when they're sick?
I have such a good one I could speak on this. So last time we had, I mean, this is the life we lead. Blake came home, my oldest, Blake, 3 years old, came home, and this is like maybe in December, with a cold from school. And then the other one, our other daughter, Gemma, got sick. And then my wife, and then Carly gets sick. And the
like
whole time I'm
effect.
like acting holier than thou to all of them. Going, I just maybe like I take a lot of vitamins. I'm like juicing. Like maybe we need to focus on our health because like I'm not getting sick, and like my wife is like still waking up with the kids, like working, powering through it. I'm like, my immune system is just like clearly stronger than yours. I said this, and then
you said that?
Yeah.
No.
And then like days later, I got so sick and could not get out of bed, and told Carly that she needs to take me to the emergency room, and was voice texting my mom to call Carly to get an ambulance, asking Carly if she can find an at-home doctor service that would come
and give you IVs.
And give me IVs to the house.
This is case in point.
And then I told Carly, I tried to convince Carly that we had different things, that the illness that I had was so bad,
so intense,
that it couldn't possibly be the same thing because she wasn't suffering.
And then
my mom called Carly and said, "Oh, he has the man flu."
Oh, the man flu.
What she called it.
For me, the biggest kicker in all of this has been we both went to get panels done just to make sure it's not COVID or the flu or whatever. Both of us last week had the common cold. It's the common cold that's knocking us
knocked
flat.
you out.
No, it's so crazy, and my husband is just really falling apart.
Yeah.
So that was number 1. Now his ankle is the size of my head. Number 2, this is such an obscure story. New York City problems, I guess, but my poor babushka, okay? I love this woman more than anything. I talk about her all the time during my stand-up. My babushka had a suitcase stolen from her in Brooklyn earlier this week when she was packing up a taxi to go to the airport because she finally is getting to go on vacation and enjoy herself. Yeah. They turned around for a minute, packing the car up, like shifting things around so it all fit. Someone swipes her suitcase. It has half her medications in it. I mean, it's a fucking senior citizen, bro.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
Isn't that terrible? So now I'm like navigating the fucking police precincts in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. Probably the only place where police officers have a Russian accent in the boroughs, I would say. Like, literally, I'm speaking with like Officer Smirnoff or something. It's a disaster. And we haven't found the suitcase. So that's that.
Okay.
And then, this is the last one. This is the cherry on top, okay? I took my daughter to a birthday party on Tuesday after school.
The setup to the story.
I take her to her classmate's birthday party, and no, they're never going to listen to this, so I'm just going to say it. My daughter goes to a Chabad school, which is a Orthodox Jewish daycare. It is her classmate's birthday. It's his 3-year-old 3-year birthday, which means they're doing a ceremonial haircut. It represents like the time a baby becomes a child and is aware of doing good deeds and whatever. I'm not a rabbi. So we go to this birthday. It is overwhelmingly Hasidic. There's like a lot of Hasidic people there. And I'm just, overly stimulated. There's a lot of kids running around screaming. And there's a bounce house. Because of course there is. Why wouldn't there be?
Of course, why not?
In the middle of a Chabad. And my daughter is like scaling this bounce house. She's navigating bigger kids who are just rough and reckless. She's at the top screaming for me. And I am trying to help her when I trip and fall and disconnect the air hose from the pump. So I am sprawled across the floor. There are men in black hats and women in wigs helping me. And all of a sudden, the bounce house collapses.
Like actually lost air that quickly?
It's from
Stop
Amazon.
it.
It's literally
Stop
probably
it.
Shein.
Oh, that makes the story
Or
worse.
Temu.
And also, I didn't know that there was like a ceremonial aspect to this. Like they were doing.
Correct.
Michelle, you had a week, sister.
And imagine like one wall of the bounce house is collapsing. Sound
And
of
there's
shrieking
kids
children.
And there's kids in the bounce
There's
house.
kids, my kid included, shrieking children. I'm laying on the ground mortified because my leg is wrapped in the air tube. Like the kid's hair who's getting cut is like blowing all over the place. Yeah, I mean, we moved on rather quickly. I couldn't stop laughing for like
that. Was your husband here for this, or did you have to deal with this like the single mother that you are this week?
I was a single mother. My husband was home with a propped up leg.
The deflating of the bounce house,
correct.
Solo, take the humiliation
on the chin,
and that's
like I do with everything,
and get up there and be like, "I'm sorry."
Correct.
Okay.
And then when we got home from
what day of the week was this? I'm just saying,
it was Tuesday, and today is Thursday.
Well,
I've had 48 hours to really reflect.
Okay,
and it hasn't gotten easier.
Happens.
When we got home, my husband asked my daughter how the birthday was. All she could talk about was the deflating bounce. And she's just like, and then the wall fell down and everybody screaming. And
it's
I was
a core
like,
memory for now some of these toddlers. That's kind of exciting.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's definitely exciting.
Yeah.
Mercury's in retrograde, I
Retrograde, yeah.
Allegedly. Yeah. So that was my week, but I'm so happy to be here with the both of you now because this is such a clear perk for me. I'll get over it, I promise. And we're going to bring it back to my guests, and I really want to talk about them. Phil, maybe you could kick us off a little bit. I want to hear more about Reason and what you do there. And I mean, I'll let you cover it, but I obviously think really highly of this company, and I love wearing their clothes, and so does my brother. And
same.
Yeah, kick us off. Tell us about what you do and how long you've been doing it for.
I started a business. My business partner and I, Jonathan, started a business when we were 18 years old. Born and raised in NYC, screen printing,
and where
t-shirts.
did you and Jonathan meet?
We met in high school in this like streets of NYC. I try to explain to people,
just out and about.
That the same way if you grew up in like a small town, you probably know everyone in your town who was about your age. Similarly, knew you knew the people like in your neighborhood, but our neighborhood was Manhattan or New York City. Just through throwing. John and I used to throw parties, big kind of almost rave parties when we were in high school. What is it now? It was like the Abercrombie store on Houston and Broadway was like our main venue where we threw high school parties in high school.
I mean, New York kids threw parties like wherever it would happen. Like when we went.
These were like with like 800 people and like DJs and.
Those were the days before social media.
Yeah.
Everything that happened there truly stayed there.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
And so both of us, when we graduated high school, they chose to stay in NYC and started screen printing t-shirts in our living room. We were this was when like Supreme was starting to get popular. If you ever remember the brand like 555 Soul or like Stussy. Stussy was like the coolest. We were obsessed with Supreme and Stussy really were the brands at the time. A store called Union NYC was like these small boutiques, and we were like, this is so cool. Collecting sneakers and Jordans was our life. And we were like, we want to make we want to make clothing, t-shirts really at the time.
For the culture.
That was like for the culture, like cool stuff. There was no social media, there was nothing, but the culture was visiting these cool stores and we wanted to be a part of it in some way. And John, it's John's idea to start this clothing business. And so we signed up for like a screen printing class at FIT. It was like $200 and just learn, like Google, like how to screen print a t-shirt, how to buy a blank t-shirt.
What was the first printed shirt that you came out with?
That's what I was
Because I'm
thinking.
thinking of one.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of, you might be thinking of the same
I
one.
think we are.
I have one in my mind that was like my first
It's the
like
design.
fail equals reason equals
Yes,
this
it was.
design.
Oh, wait,
It
I
was the
wanna know
first
what it
design
was.
that I saw that I was like, "Holy shit, this concept is genius," and forever will recall that.
But we want to hear
graphic.
what
the
it is
first,
for
the
you.
first probably like first couple seasons were just like us experiment. Like John was studying photography at the time, so it was like photography t-shirt, kind of like arty t-shirts, just
Yeah.
learning. Like maybe we made 72 pieces, if that, of like the first couple designs, but like art t-shirts, photos, and
Right.
there was one that we did that was just like a pirate with this cool fade of colors and
But was
stuff,
that
highly
the first
collectible.
one that you feel was like, okay, this is a reason?
Yeah.
The first one, no. I think the first one was we did a T-shirt that said "Go love your own city."
Okay,
Is that
that
it?
was
Yeah.
that's one. Okay, that's one of the ones.
And then
I
the
still
other
have
one
mine.
was
still have
like
mine.
we took the Ramones logo and we flipped it to say the Diplomats, and instead
Yes,
of
that
the
was
Ramones,
Still have
That's
that
a
one
big
too.
one.
and said Ramones, and that was really when we, I think, discovered what the DNA of our brand was, which was taking ideas from pop culture and from our culture and reasonifying them and flipping them on their heads, which really is the DNA
Yeah.
of what streetwear even is like taking something that shouldn't be done, that feels like it's, like
breaking a rule.
breaking the rules. Like, how can you take that? Like, the best ideas are the ones like, how are you going to get away with that? Is that okay? Like, are you allowed to do
Right,
that? Are
that
you
was
going to get
gonna
in
be my
trouble
question.
for that?
Yeah.
Because you had taken, I still have all of my Reason gear, by
Me
the
too.
way, and it holds very well. So amen
Wait,
to that.
before you say it though, I just want to say the one that I was really thinking of
Yeah.
was the homies one.
And the
Right,
homies. That
that's
was
right.
several years
So,
later, but yeah.
taking, and
Yeah.
flipping it to homies and like having the Versace logo and
Yeah.
Vigilante, like that is so
That was a good
fire.
one too.
Curious for me, because in that time I was podcasting and I was thinking about copywriting and using
Yeah.
imagery and everything. Was that ever a concern for you guys, or how did you? Because you're young, you're kind of just doing it. This was again before social media, so maybe images weren't shared as rapidly. But you guys were still so successful. You had storefronts. Was that ever a conversation or a concern?
I think it definitely was.
Yeah.
But first, it's like, it's the power broke. We had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
We weren't. What were they gonna
Right.
come
Yeah,
after
what
us?
are they gonna
Right.
take?
for? We were just trying to make money, and really, all of these ideas came from like, okay, I got to take this T-shirt and like I got to sell it. I got to turn it into something that people are going to want. I have to go to where the demand already is, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, I see people on the street wearing a "I Heart New York" T-shirt,
Go
and
love
we're
your own
like
city.
New
Go
York
love your
City
own. Yeah.
kids, and we're like, okay, screw all these
Yeah.
people like making the rent go up. We can't afford we
Yeah.
can't afford an apartment. It's head. Or,
So
again, we
legendary.
felt like at the time, if you remember Dip the Diplomats and Cameron was like, that was life at the time.
Yeah.
Still
and we
is.
felt like in a conversation
Dipset.
with the friends of like, okay, these guys are the Ramones of the Ramones, where this
Of Harlem,
counterculture exists. And so it was just this fitting idea. And with the fashion parodies, it was the same thing. We saw kids, 18, it was always crazy to me, 18-year-old kids who would like, you spend all your money on fashion, like you're spending dollars on
Yeah.
a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy to me, but that was what streetwear was turning into at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Streetwear was turning fashion. Like celebrities when we grew up, like celebrities were wearing Rockaware and Sean
Mm-hmm.
John and Echo. They were wearing $20 T-shirts. It was attainable, and then we saw the shift into fashion, and so we felt compelled to speak on it because we were like, I wasn't going to buy a Hermes T-shirt. If you saw the one we did the Celine Dion T-shirt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember that summer Rihanna wore the Celine logo T-shirt, and we're like, what? That's like a $700 T-shirt.
T-shirt, yeah.
We're just gonna, turn it
Recreate.
on its head and
And now
try to make
logos are
money.
such a big
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of fashion, but I feel like it was so much more edgier and more streetwear
Totally.
back when we're referring to.
Well, it was a little bit like rebellious to like take something that was $700 unattainable to us. We were in college at the time
Yeah.
when we were introduced to Reason and
Yeah.
meeting you, and we weren't paying $700 for a T-shirt. So we're like, fuck that. We're gonna wear this shirt that says "Go Hard Your Own" or "Homies" or you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, definitely like a little rebellious. Kind
And
of
then you
energy.
started designing more clothing outside of the T-shirts, right? Because you would
Yeah.
have like all these printed pants or
Yeah.
jackets. I remember there was one print of a jacket that was reversible.
Is it the floral?
It's the floral.
The floral.
Of course.
The
It's
floral.
the blue
Jacket.
floral.
Yes.
And I don't remember what the other side was. And there were like 2 left in the store. And
Yeah.
neither were my size, so I gave it up. Like I was like, okay, not for me, fine. But I had a group of girlfriends and everyone was fighting over the last 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I want it, no, I want it, no, I want it. And like our other friend was working at the store at the time.
Yes.
So everyone was hitting her up being like, put it aside for me, put it aside for me. I'm coming first. I'm coming first. That was monumental in my own life.
I know.
Because I had to break up
I
fights.
had that jacket, and now I'm like, where the did that jacket go?
I know. I do still have my recent jackets. And then we also, a big
Iconic.
one is the fleece, the Patagonia looking
Yeah,
fleece.
the Sherpas.
The Sherpas.
Sherpas.
Matt and I fight over that one because, like, on me it's like cute, sexy, cozy, but on him it's like lumberjacky skiing. And I'm like, fuck off! Like, stop taking my shit. So that, yeah, I love that. I mean, I love Reason stuff. My younger brother, who is a rapper, also loves like the more streetwear version of Reason clothing. So he's always wearing his Reason stuff too. And you started this business in New York City proper, like, which is just so remarkable, I feel, because as someone who's more of a worker, be in the corporate structure, organization, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty cool to have started a business in New York City and to have it flourish, and you still have your office here, right?
Yeah.
And you love it.
Yeah.
You're a
Love
New
it.
Yorker. You're never
Yeah.
leaving.
No.
No. You can't. And then on the other side, not really so much other side, but you've also started a really successful business in New York City. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, I've been doing cleanse juices for 6 or 7 years. Really took off during the time of the pandemic in 2020 when everybody was super focused on either boosting their immune system or wanting to like shed that quarantine 15 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But before that, I had the clean eating chick and I was, you know, sharing recipes and clean living tips and always having like a mindfulness approach. But knowing that if I wanted to grow and expand and thinking about the entrepreneurial mindset, I knew I needed to have a product. And it kind of happened accidentally. I was juicing for myself on my own. It was something that was natural to my day-to-day regimen. And people were seeing that I was like feeling good, energetic. And I had a friend of mine, Kyle, who, you know, and he approached
does
me.
hair.
Yes, he approached me and he was like, all right, I want to get on this juice cleanse action, but my ass is too busy. I'm not going to make the juices. Totally fair. We're all busy. We're hustling and bustling, right? So I'm like, okay, like I'll make the juices for you. So him and his partner at the time, I put together a 3-day juice cleanse for both of them. And having the marketing and event production background, I was like, okay, I'm not just going to make these juices and put them in mason jars and say goodbye, good luck. I instead like got labels designed. I put it together. I made like a whole
You made it
experience.
special.
Yeah, I made a whole experience because I realized I enjoyed doing it for someone else and I wanted them to have a positive experience too, because everyone would be like, ugh, a green juice? Like, are you kidding me? Or, you know, and this was the time of Juice Press and I was so inspired by Marcus Antebby and what he was doing down in Soho and Organic Avenue and all these things.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Organic Avenue.
Those were like my those were my stomping
We're in a time
grounds.
period right now where I'm wearing Reason and I'm carrying
Yes.
an orange
Yes.
Organic Avenue
Yes,
bag.
gosh, those were the
Jesus.
days,
Yeah.
man. And I would like, I remember going into Juice Press or going into these like really beautiful high level juice bars where like maybe they weren't necessarily making the juices there, but they made eating healthy or drinking healthy and eating clean look sexy, look fun,
Attainable.
attainable.
It was like easy, accessible.
It was pricey, but I think there was a budding kind of narrative that was, hey, you need to invest in yourself now, in your health, otherwise you're going to deal with it later, whether it's through like hospital bills or prescriptions or whatever it is. So that was very much in my forefront. And then once I made the juices for him and just took a photo of myself holding the juice with, you know, 24 other bottles, I posted it on social and I like had no idea what I was doing. It wasn't even an idea to like create something, and it blew up. And the post itself, like back when this was, I don't know, 6+ years ago, would go viral, reaching over like 350 people at the time. That was like exciting. I was on my way to MSG with my sister on the train, opening up my phone and being like, holy shit, I think I just accidentally started something. And then through word of mouth with Kyle being a hairdresser and all these things, it just naturally grew and then really took off during COVID. So there's a lot of intention, and I mean, it is my baby. It's an extension of me. There's so many personal components to why I started juicing in the first place and then wanting it to reach a larger audience. But yeah, I mean, I feel incredibly blessed to get to do truthfully what I love and share something that is beneficial for people, you know, and then seeing them, how they respond to it and how great they feel. Like that just is like spiritual deposits in my karmic bank. Like
Here
it feels really
Here
good.
we go.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
exactly.
The Libra
Is here.
Would you say that that's the most significant takeaway of what you do?
The juices?
Yeah, like would you say that having those karmic deposits or feeling like you're putting your personal touch and
yes.
being involved in people's wellness in that way is the most significant part?
Partially, yes. I think because I think I have so much more to create in this life, but I think right now this is a way of giving back because not to like take it to this way, but because I experienced the loss of my mom at a young age and seeing how someone's life can completely go like a 180 in 2 years. You can have a diagnosis and then lose your life.
Yeah.
Like I was just, it forever, of course, I think would struck anybody close to the situation. But I was like, I can't let this situation be in vain. I need to make sure that I can help people feel good and prevent a diagnosis like this because all of these types of chronic illnesses, everything is rampant now. You know this.
Yeah.
And there are ways to prevent and to actually feel
Get ahead.
good. Yeah, and get ahead.
You're right.
You
It's
know?
definitely not in vain.
So I think it's like the biggest, so I would say out of my takeaway is the biggest thing. And that's my reminder to be grateful that that's going on my phone right now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Go get your phone.
Okay. Are you sure? You can get it.
Am I sure?
yeah.
Are we gonna listen to
we're
the?
We're gonna. It's a ding.
I also feel like that's like a sign from your mom being
Yeah.
like, "That's my girl."
Thank you.
I love that.
I love that.
Oh, I love that.
So
We're so
sweet.
Lisa from Salt Lake City.
I started watching. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk. One last question for you, Phil,
Yeah.
just relating to like what we had kind of touched on, because I wanted to hear from Eleni what's like most significant to her, but also for you and in your line of business. What are you seeing now trend-wise that you're most excited about in streetwear, fashion, your line of work, etc.?
For me, what's been exciting is seeing like a change, in our marketplace where we started out just like screen printing t-shirts. Our business was like we would buy a blank t-shirt and just print on it. Now I feel like the customer and the marketplace and the trend is becoming about like quality. Everyone wants to wear like a heavyweight t-shirts, or I love like vintage t-shirts. I collect like band t-shirts, and for years we've tried to do like these washed vintage tees, and they honestly never sold. But now that's becoming popular again, and this trend towards
like that.
quality,
Interesting, yeah.
heavyweight t-shirts. The guy I don't know, growing up there was just like you wore a t-shirt, you just wore a regular tee. Now there's like guys are wearing oversized t-shirts and crop t-shirts.
Yeah.
And so like this
And women
move
are too.
Yeah, it's an exciting
Yeah.
time in
The
what we do.
shirt, the perfect white t-shirt
Yeah.
for a woman never seems to end.
Yeah.
I'm going to
true.
take your tips after on that. I want to shift over into the taking it personally part of the show because I just love to talk about my grievances and what's annoying me. And so I want to get to the bottom of what's annoying my guests today, okay? Mostly related to what they do at work, but let's have some fun with it, right? What's one thing that people tend to misunderstand about what you do, and do you take it personally? So, when I think about your line of work, for example, someone could literally be like, I could blend this shit in my house. Or if I think about your line of work, someone could literally be like, it's a t-shirt, So what grinds your gears? Who wants to kick it off?
I guess I could kick it off. I mean, I think, sometimes I don't say grinds my gears. I think it does bother me a little bit when people think, hey, like juicing is messy. Juicing is messy. And that's the biggest thing I think I hear from people. Time consuming. And, if they like try to recreate my recipes, it never tastes the same. So, there's always that kind of component of like people thinking like, oh, I don't want to pay $14 or $16 for a juice in a glass bottle. I'm hand making these juices still to this day. Yeah. And, there is something where it's like there's a lot of love, not to be like the woo-woo crunchy granola in me, but sometimes I can't help it. Yeah. I infuse a lot of love and intention into what it is that I do.
It's super thoughtful.
Yeah, and I feel like I would say that if anybody thinks that they don't want to spend that kind of money, I mean, everyone's entitled to do what they want to do. But
so do you take it personally when someone is like, that juice is too expensive, I don't want to spend that kind of money?
Take it personally.
Be honest.
You got to read the 4 agreements, but then there would be no taking it personally.
I did read the 4 agreements, and I still take shit personally. I'll reread it.
No, I don't really take it personally. I'm kind of like, all right, do you, boo-boo?
Respect.
Like, Yeah. I always feel like your people, your clients, your clientele, your customers, they find you and whoever's in alignment.
If they get it, they get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you?
I want to know what the 4 agreements are.
Don Miguel Ruiz, a phenomenal book. I will get it. I will share it with you. It's
have
amazing.
a copy. I'll lend you. Every few months, I go through this resurgence of like, I'm gonna do like the artist's way and read the 4 agreements, and
It's
then
a cycle.
I'm back to reading smut. So I try. So what's something
proud of you for trying.
about? Thank you. What's something about your line of work or your business that people misunderstand, and do you take it personally?
One thing that just in general people misunderstand, I feel like, about me is that I'm a very direct person. I tend to not like sugarcoat things.
You don't waste time.
I don't waste time. I generally get right to it. And I think that can come off, and I'm not a harsh person, but it can come off as harsh sometimes. I'm not somebody who's gonna take the truth and like tie it up in a bow, and I'm not delicate with people. I've been told that like I don't have soft hands. And I'm trying to have softer hands sometimes, but that's something that I can come off that way. And I know that.
Do you think that's a product of where you're from, or that's just like how you are? Or
I think it's all
business?
of the above, and I think I have to answer a lot of things all the time, all day long. I have just questions coming my way, and I respond to hundreds of emails a day, and so I think and I have to get it right. So I try to be very clear, and sometimes it's too sharp, perhaps.
Yeah, but that's the recipe for success, though.
Also,
like you
that's
have to
great
be
advice.
like that. Yeah,
That's
you have
great
to
advice.
really have to be like that, because time is money, and you have to just get to the point immediately. I feel that. Great
Goddamn
work.
right.
Great work,
I
Phil.
think that is so
Goddamn right.
great.
Yeah.
Is there anything industry wide or like specifically based on your line of work that drives you nuts?
No, I'm a pretty unbothered personally, generally. Like doesn't drive me nuts. And even if people like, oh, you can be harsh, it doesn't, it doesn't.
Let it roll off.
It doesn't even faze me, to be honest.
I think he's forgetting what show he's on. No, I'm just kidding.
My podcast is coming soon. It's called Unbothered by Phil.
You heard it here
Bases.
first. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. I'm about to open up my own network. I also was giggling a little bit when you said the soft hands thing, because the running joke with my in-laws is that my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, they both served in the Navy and the Army, and they really were doing gritty work and so on and so forth. And my husband, works behind a computer, so he has soft hands. Oh, Matt, you can't handle anything. This is the Rip on Matt show sometimes, but go on. So my next question then would be, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about New York life, because like I said at the beginning of the show, I love that both of you grew up in New York, and you grew up in Queens, you grew up in Inwood, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you have really unique perspectives that I think is missing from so much of the discourse today with people who are living in New York, or what people are seeing on social media about New York. So what's something about New York life, what that could be culture, people, habits, that you take?
I mean, I'm pissed about the congestion prices.
They went away.
They did?
They went away.
When did they go
Wait,
away?
really? Did they really go away?
No, they paused the Trump
No way.
TR asterisk
For real?
MP.
It's-
I
That's-
didn't.
I didn't know
I
that.
heard that was like rumblings. I didn't realize that
No, he
actually
paused
happened.
it. He paused it. Now
Bless.
it's like getting appealed.
Okay, because that was honestly like, why are we trying to shut people out of the greatest city of all time? Like,
Channel 7 News with Michelle Yampolsky Gomez coming to you live with this 3 week.
wow.
Even
Is
Chris is
it
learning
really 3
something new.
weeks? I knew that he had.
Can you confirm, Chris?
Yeah, I'll check it out right now.
Thank
I feel
you.
like, I don't know. I don't know if it's gone yet.
I know.
No, it's in the courts.
Okay, but I know that he was wanting to put a halt to that. I just didn't know that it actually went through. That's pretty great.
Yeah,
great work.
I'm pretty sure big old Kathy was planning on appealing it, but I'm pretty sure that's where we're at.
Okay, great.
So that's what grinds your gears. That's
yeah,
what
the congestion
you're taking
prices. Yeah,
personally
it was
about
like
New York
I just didn't
okay.
appreciate that. Like, don't be putting no congestion prices on this city. Like, why are we trying to keep people out? Like, this is inclusive. Like, let's invite people.
We shouldn't be charging people just to drive on these roads, honey, because they are in no shape for us to be taking money for that.
100%. The potholes.
Unbelievable.
Honey.
We're ricocheting all over the place.
Yeah.
Phil, what's something you take personally? Sorry, that was like a really sharp. I'm just not used to being in the center.
You love it. You love it.
Phil, what is something that you take personally about New York City life, whatever that means to you?
She got me hot with the congestion pricing.
Right.
I think
first
we
of
can all.
all,
I think we're all in agreement.
We're waiting on.
So I believe that they gave a 30-day extension to like end it basically. So it's still in effect right now for 30 more days. That's what it says.
That to me,
I live on 72nd Street. I park my car on 57th Street. So I have to pay the congestion
It's
pricing
horseshit.
every time I park.
that is
Every time
unbelievable.
Every
I
time
have
I
to
exit
go
off the
park
FDR.
my
I wanna
car.
know.
Every time I park my car, I am exiting to go home off the FDR.
That's insane. Like, where is this money? You know how much this is generating an immense amount of income for the city, but where is it going? It's just like
It's going to therapists for transplants.
handle it.
Because they all think we're
But
gonna.
what
Wait,
really,
that
I want
just-
to tell
I
you
just
one thing that
processed
happened to
that.
me today.
I want to shift backwards. Yes.
One
go.
thing that went that
that you
occurred
took
to me
personally today.
that I took
Can
personally
you start the
today.
sentence with like, "This is something that I took personally just today."
Something that I took personally just today was I was on the Q train platform at 34th Street, and this woman on her flip phone is listening to Bobby Shmurda on full goddamn volume.
That rules.
No, I
I think
can't.
that rules.
You think that
I think
rules?
that rules.
Listen,
He's not from here.
no shots to Bobby Shmurda. Great, it was a great song.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to do something. I'm on a call.
trying to do something.
And just I'm
Using
on
your
I'm on a
headphones
phone
like a-
call. Thank you.
I assume.
And this just drives me nuts. There's no place in a public place I don't
Bobby
want to be
Shmurda.
listening to. I mean, there is a public place for Bobby Shmurda, but not on the subway, not on a bus.
Agreed.
Not in a crowded elevator. You
What time
don't-
of day was this?
Oh, that was what made it even worse. This is like 8:45.
Whoa.
8:45 in the morning.
So if you would have said like a 6:45 p.m., maybe there would be some leeway, but at 8:45 a.m. now.
We do have a few other things to note, though. One being it's 34th Street Herald Station.
Yeah. No,
Herald
you're
Square
there.
Station.
A lot of
You're
things are happening.
You're about
already-
to see a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You're already seeing it.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I actually wanted to ask both of you. This is a question that's kind of like near to my heart. Have you ever taken it personally when you've encountered, or have you even encountered someone being elitist about where you went to school? Since you're both successful entrepreneurs, do you ever encounter someone being kind of surprised by it? Because we went to Pace together.
Mhm.
You went to Baruch. You spoke at Baruch.
Aw.
And you know, I went to Pace and I did end up transferring.
Yes.
And even in my own family, I got a lot of shit for going to Pace. And I think that that's a lot of like the immigrant mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know if either of you have ever encountered that.
I thought Pace was a bougie school. I still is
Yeah.
that not?
I
think
actually have
Pace
no
is
idea.
an elitist
Yeah,
school. It's
I
an
don't think-
elite
is it?
school. Excuse me, not
It's
elite.
not.
It's an elite school.
No,
I
mean,
guess
but
But it's
to
a
offer-
private school,
It's
no?
a private school. It's
Yeah,
super
but-
expensive.
Yeah.
I think some. I mean, I feel like I've received like, oh, Pace.
Really?
Pace,
Yeah.
never heard of it.
Yeah. Or like people have heard of it, they're like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that this is probably a question coming from like the second generation immigrant side of me, because you know, you have your family being like, oh well, so and so's going to NYU to be a dentist, like so and so is going to Harvard
Oh,
to
I've
study
received
law.
that. I've
Yeah.
received that. I for sure have received that from
And I
my
definitely
immigrant
took it
father.
personally.
100%.
Yeah,
Oh
like-
yeah, like you should have been a dentist.
Yeah,
Like,
or
you
my-
should-
yes.
or I should have been a teacher so I could have summers off. Like instead of me like having two successful companies, I should have been a teacher to have summers off. Like that sometimes is the reasoning that I get.
In your family,
yeah.
it's all about going to Greece over
yeah,
the summer.
yeah. Amen, Annie.
I want to get into more New York City life stuff. So I'm going to give like a very top level intro to the discourse here, because I don't think either of you are rotting away on TikTok as much as I am. And that's good. That's good, because I am a waste of energy. So a few weeks ago, there was a scandal that rocked TikTok where, you know, one chick made a video and she's like, New York City influencers are boring. Okay. And a lot of New York City influencers responded to the video, the ones who are white and blonde and doing the same, you know, Pilates class and then going to get a latte and then getting their nails done in a day, were responding to that being like, if we're so boring, don't watch, you know, or something like that. Do you have any feelings or takes or perspective you can share with me about how you grew up in New York City and like what you think of the way things are going now with the youth?
I see some of this kind of, I see the stuff that you're talking about on TikTok, but I see the stuff that you're talking about. I feel like, to me, that's like, if you're taking time to like, you know, post your latte on Instagram and do these videos, I don't think that's real life to me. I don't think that's, I think people are choosing obviously to like,
Yeah.
you know, create this edited
highlight reel.
version,
Yes.
the highlight reel, you know, I don't think that's the real hustle of NYC. And I think
What-
coming really when if you have to create something for yourself and you're really focused on building something, you probably don't even have time
Yes.
to
Yeah.
take this video, you know, and I know that's a part of, for a lot of people, that is what they're building, and they're curating this aesthetic, but it just doesn't, personally to me, doesn't,
It doesn't
feel
speak to you.
authentic. It doesn't feel real.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's also not your niche, so I get it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know that people will watch this or listen to this and be like, oh, Michelle, well, that's your algorithm. Like, you have built this algorithm
Fair.
brick by brick, which
But-
might be true. I don't mean to be hate watching anything, but it does happen to come across my desk, and
Yeah.
I'll just be like, this is a really luxe life that these people are building straight off of content.
I will say, piggybacking off of your answer, which was perfect, I know that I will actually designate time to create content, but when I'm having a really busy day, I'm not able to pick up my phone, to create any of that type of content, to respond to DMs. Like, none of that's happening when I'm actually in my building days. Like, when I'm having those days where I'm locked in, I'm in meetings, or I'm writing for the podcast, or I'm making juices, I'm not on my phone. Like, the whole, like, I'm not on TikTok. I have the app, but it's like, I feel like my soul gets sucked out of it every time I open it up. And I see like the get readies with me, and it's just like, how do you, like, with the putting up the phone on the thing and you're brushing your teeth, like all this stuff, it's like, it just doesn't
resonate.
No, it doesn't resonate whatsoever. And I just don't feel like that's actually information or proper visuals of people that are really making an impact in their business. Like, all of that's pre-curated.
And there you have it, folks. This is what success sounds like. And then there was me. Anyway, thank you. That was good. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it really doesn't. I don't really love like the get ready with me videos either, but I did think that it was an interesting online war happening when people were discussing New York City influencers, when, you know, the three of us live in different versions of New York City from each other, and it's really not reflecting our day to day at all. And I'm old, so I shouldn't be like commenting on this anyway. So you two, you both grew up here, and I'd love to hear your perspective on what it's like having grown up here versus people who moved here. Have you ever experienced anything wacky with a transplant? How long do you plan on staying here? Eleni, you moved to LA and back, so
did.
clearly that's saying something.
Yeah.
Phil, you're raising 2 kids here. That's saying something too. Tell me all of it.
Well, I mean, I think that growing up in New York and having the energy, you definitely have a stronger grit to you, similar to your point about like just letting things, you don't like your time is more structured and you don't really have time for bullshit. I see that people outside of New York, it's just a slower pace, but like no disrespect to that, because I went to LA and I loved that people were like, there wasn't this rush of things, like this kind of like intensity to get things done. Or it was like, yeah, I'm going to answer your email after I go on a hike. I was
my
like, okay,
God.
I like that. You know? But I ultimately went there to build out the West Coast branch of the Clean Eating Chick and start cleanse juices out there, ultimately coming back because of COVID. So I'm like, I need to be with my people because I don't know what's happening, martial law, what's going on. So I came back here. But
She's arming up, people.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like I think my hustle and my attitude and my energy got me really successful being in LA because I was so much more quick on it and I had ideas swirling around, whereas that was a breath of fresh air for some people I was working with out there.
Yeah, I could see that being the truth because people do. LA, this is just an example, right? But
of course, I love LA.
LA is a lot of fun, but people really do move at a different pace, and they fit so much into one day in such a different way because they're in the car
it's
so
sunshine
much
all the time, and it's like you want to wake up and you go to the beach. Like time expands in LA.
Interesting.
It really does. Also, too, because New York business, everything is happening in New York, so you have to wake up being with the market here. So I think like I remember I was an earlier riser in LA. Like it just my days felt like so much more full.
You have more time in a day in a weird sense.
Yeah.
You do, but you don't.
And you can literally get in your car, take a 20-minute drive, go on a beautiful hike, see the ocean, reconnect to your higher power, and then go back to the rest of your day and make, you know, your deals and your meals.
Being a rat spinning on a wheel,
That's
a
it.
hamster on a wheel.
That's it. But you got your daily dose of vitamin
That's
D.
a day in the life video.
You stared into the sun. You got that, you know, circadian rhythm energy.
Were you that influencer that was like sunning her asshole during COVID?
Oh my God. How did you know?
You were on the Daily Mail, bitch. Not that it was your asshole,
No,
but
not mine. Not mine.
lots of bleeps coming.
Wow, honey.
What about you, Phil? What
How to follow that?
And speaking of assholes, but like you've decided you grew up here, you're staying here for now at least. So what's that like for you?
Probably indefinitely. I think it's a gift and a curse. I think there's certainly
It's
like
such a gift and a curse.
a street smart savviness that you get. There's a certain like edge. My wife said it. She said we went to like a group event maybe a couple weeks ago, and I immediately like connected with like one of her work buddies, and she's like, it's the New Yorker, and she's like, you can smell it on like a real New Yorker, like you just immediately connect, even without knowing. You both know what I'm talking about.
I
You just
do.
can
I really
immediately
do.
tell.
They get it.
You get it. There's a certain
silent understanding.
certain edge that you get, and there's so, especially in New York. Even growing up, I was curious if you felt this. Even growing up as a 4-year-old, I was so grateful to grow up in New York. I would think to myself, wow, like this world is so big, it's so crazy. Like you could be born anywhere in the world, but like this is, this is the coolest place.
You are
this
born in
is
the center of the earth.
place, and you would think like, wow, like I could have been born in Ohio, no, Shasta, Ohio, but you could have been born anywhere, and I was so grateful. And I think there's the flip side of it. I think you're exposed to a lot very young. You get that street smarts because you're exposed to a lot. And certainly now, like raising 2 daughters, and there's a question like that we have in our house. I'm like, I'm not sure that it's always an advantage. I'm not sure if you have the option to maybe, if you want to raise your kids anywhere, like, do you want your 2?
Yeah.
Do you want your 4-year-old to have street smarts?
Right.
I'm not sure. I think it also is a superpower to some extent.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with that. I often think about the shit my daughter sees on a day-to-day basis just by commuting to school. And it's things that I probably didn't encounter until later on. I mean, for some background, I was born in New York, but my parents were really living their immigrant dream and wanted that house in the suburbs, and we moved to North Jersey, and most of my family stayed in Lower Manhattan and in Brooklyn. My parents both work in Manhattan to this day, and just always had so much pride about coming to not only America but coming to New York, like making it in New York. And I remember when I was younger, I would tell my dad I'm leaving, I want to go live somewhere else, and he's like, you can try it, but there's no place like New York. And it's true now that I've decided to at least have my daughter here for now, and we'll be casually walking to school, and I'm pretty sure she's like seen someone smoking meth and then like past the celebrity on the street in the same vein, and then she's going to school right next to a celebrity hotspot, and that's where she does her fire drills in. It's just these insane experiences that I feel like are so unique to us, and it must have had a really big part in both of you and how you've decided to run your businesses and how you've grown them and how you've connected with people. Like you've mentioned before, you're super sharp and don't have soft hands. But I feel like that's just like how you survived. Survived might be a stretch, right? But it's just like
having a leg up on other people too.
Yeah.
Like that maybe are slow to respond to emails, like, or don't answer text messages, or maybe need like 24 hours to process something. Like you got to go when the time is money, when the opportunity comes, you got to be ready to pull the trigger. And I think like that is a mentality that if you're outside of New York, that's not always there. Also, I think there's an additional component when you have parents that came to this country and wanted to make something happen, and like you're kind of the first generation born here, so like, okay, I was given this advantage, I went to college, I'm graduated, I have no debt, doing my thing, like I have to give it back.
It's time to...
I think it makes you like a skeptic too. I think you can like smell bullshit. You've seen all the scams. Like I grew up in New York where there was like the guys doing 3-card Monty on Canal Street, and I remember like meeting people and they'd be like, oh, can I get to? I'm like, that's a scam. You see like just little things like, and especially today on the internet, this whole world on the internet, you're like, okay, like you've learned, you're like, no, you're able to spot bullshit, I think, a lot better because you're growing up with people,
Absolutely.
trying to scam you at every
right,
corner.
like this looks a little sus. I don't know about that. Like, for sure.
I took my daughter to the Battery Park Carousel a couple of weeks ago, and down there, everyone's trying to scam each other out for who's going to take a ride to the Statue of Liberty. And my daughter's literally walking past them like, no, and then she just knows that.
No one will take advantage of her.
No,
like if that's the energy and she's 2, like. God bless.
God bless. Chris, do I have time for one more question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, thank you. So one more thing that I wanted to ask then, since you're both kind of running these businesses in this insane shit show city, which we love and hate, hustle culture. So annoying. To me, it's like the concept or the wording of hustle culture reminds me so much of like girl boss or, whatever. Is there truth to it? Does hustle culture does exist then? It's kind of what you were saying about the difference between New York and LA.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
and you must feel it too because you're liaising with people around the world. So are you always on?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I mean, I work 17 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't even know what hustle culture is. Like, it's just a part of my
it's the day to day.
Before that even was a term, like we've been hustling, out here trying to do things.
And we're doing
I think
it.
there's a misconception that people think that if they leave their 9 to 5 and they start their own business, that their life will be somehow easier, and that could not be further from the truth.
Way.
But
no way.
there is a blessing that comes with that because you are creating your own opportunities. You're creating your business, so it's your baby.
Did we just come up with more slogans for future reason shirts?
Yeah, no.
Are you
I'm gonna
taking
need
this
to
all
write
in?
these down.
So it's literally like
All right, but 10%, Phil. 10%. Okay.
Yeah, no,
We'll negotiate it
Thank you.
afterwards.
Thank
Yeah,
Keep
that
the
one was already
mics
actually
down.
on a list.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was already coming before he said it.
Interesting. No, like hustle culture, like do what you love and never work a day in your life.
Have you been on the reason this is what we do?
Yeah, no, we're on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm same.
No,
so.
I get it because I talk often about where I work right now is a means to an end. For me, it really is funding my own dreams, my own outlets that I've really come to discover as a good outlet, a good way to express myself.
Totally.
It's something I really enjoy. And now I'm constantly working on everything else and I don't even feel it.
Yeah.
Like I really don't even miss that free time that I once had because I love it. So I'm also working 17-hour days.
Okay, welcome to the club.
Yeah, this was so much fun. And I wanted to open up the space to both of you. Is there anything else you want to share about your life or your work or how you're feeling? We have a spring equinox coming up.
It's today.
What should we do to prepare?
Definitely do a meditation. I would sit in gratitude and maybe just connect to your breath, close your eyes, and just focus on the things that you were maybe working on in the winter.
Like now, or you're saying?
Well,
Like
we could do that now. Yeah.
Why don't you just close your eyes?
Phil, take a 5. It's okay.
Yeah.
I should actually lead a meditation. That will be the next episode. Juice is the new tea.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I want my 10%.
Anything-
I want my 10%.
Look at me just making deals.
We're transacting
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's it.
Wow, this has been a turnaround to my week. Any other thoughts on anything we've talked about today, Phil?
Just so proud of you, Michelle. I'm so proud of what you're doing. I love your
you.
comedy and your comedy
Yes.
clips, and I'm really just you're such a great host, and you're just both of you great energy. But we're so proud of what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Can you tell us a little bit, Phil, about where we can find you, where we can find Reason, what's on the horizon for you?
ReasonClothing.com, Reason Clothing on Instagram, Reason Clothing on TikTok, Reason Clothing on wherever you're.
I see Reason
Clothing.
Clothing stepping up on Reels, by the way.
Reason Clothing on Reels,
Yeah.
Reason Clothing on wherever you are reasoning or clothing.
What's the next, what's an exciting collab coming up for Reason Clothing?
Oh my gosh.
You've had some really good ones recently.
I mean, Lil Wayne is a big one we're doing right now. There's
Amazing.
so many. I don't know what.
What's your favorite
out.
one?
Favorite one is Lil Wayne was really lifetime
So good.
achievement. Some of the ones that are in the works maybe next that aren't.
Yeah.
When you come back, you'll be able to tell us.
Yeah. There's some other ones that could
One
be.
more quick question. What is like the top seller ever? Do you know?
Top seller all time,
Yeah.
item all time by SKU. It's going to be like a black pair of jeans. It's going to be a
Okay.
basic.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
All right.
Lenny, you have a lot going on. Can you tell us
do.
where we can find you? What's
Yes.
next? Where to tune in?
Yes. Officially launched Juice is the New Tea, brand new website. Thank you. Brand new podcast and website as well. And again, like I gave you a little bit of flowers too, but I want to thank you for involving me back in this world and being such a part of propelling me back into that space. So I am so proud of you.
Eleni
Love
is the
you.
OG podcaster.
Yes, sister. So so you can follow Juice is the New Tea and at The Clean Eating Chick. And for recipes, clean living tips, mindfulness, thecleaneatingchick.com.
Love.
Yeah.
I wish we had some juices today, but
Yes, next time. Invite
Wow.
me back. Invite me back then.
Okay. You're literally on like every other episode. Let's talk about me being on yours. Anyway, I shade over there. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate everyone taking the time out of their day. Thank you so much for listening. Please follow along at Meshamps on Instagram, at Meshamps on TikTok, because I'm trying to create more than I consume. That's been my goal. And I'm actually kind of funny on it.
Yeah. No, you're
and
a
then
blast.
taking it personally on Instagram, you can watch clips. I'm on YouTube. I also have a new website up, which I just finished. I'm really excited about. Have some great episodes in the hopper too. And talk soon. Bye. Mwah.
Bye.
Yay. Wow, that went over. I'm so sorry.